So we're gonna look at a couple of different things today, but one thing I also want to mention, I was thinking for a while how I wanted to handle opening leads because there's a lot to it, and if we look at whole hands and break them down the way we've been doing with some of the other stuff, we're just not going to get to that many unless we just have a whole uh, busload of opening leads things, which I don't think is really practical. At the same time, if I just rip through them audio wise, I don't think that's going to be really useful either because it's a lot harder to retain the information. So what I'm going to do instead, hold on a sec, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time here. What I'm going to do instead is send out for anybody who would be interested a little opening leads quiz where you can actually look at the hands and think about them. And then I'll send the answers and explanations out after anybody who's interested has had a chance to check them out. So I'm putting my email address in the room for anybody who would be interested in a little take-home homework for opening leads. A lot of the explanations uh, of the opening leads, whatever you want to call it, homework or quiz or whatever, are going to touch on things that we've talked about here, very often either active versus passive defense, which you can often predict before the opening lead is made, or the idea that what happens to declarers losers, right? They're going to get rough, they're going to get pitched, or you're going to get them sooner or later. And a lot of times those are guiding principles on opening lead. You just have to think more about your hand and the auction, and you obviously can't rely yet on the appearance of dummy, but you'll, as you can kind of see from some of the hands, or as you'll be able to see, a lot of the time you don't have to because the opponent's auction will suggest what's going on. Okay, so meanwhile, let us look at this hand, and this is one of those hands like we did last week where I'm not really concerned too much about the auction or the contract. I just want to look at some suits in isolation, and you can probably guess from the hand that we're gonna not really care so much about clubs, but you may notice that the other suits are identical in the east and north hands. So forget this auction and forget the context of the entire hand. We just want to look at these suits in isolation. So we're going to assume that from the auction or from the play of the hand, East knows that declarer has 3 cards in the suit, or at least 3 cards in the suit. And what we want to do is take 2 cards in the suit. Now, it should be pretty clear that if we start with diamond, so we're East, we're looking at king, queen, small, small, and there's nothing in dummy in any of these suits. So we're missing the ace, the jack, the 10. If partner has the ace, let's start with the obvious one first, doesn't matter what we do. We can either lead small to the ace and then win the king and queen, right? Or if we started with the king or queen, that would be good enough too. When everybody's got 3 cards in the suit and you have the ace, king, queen, it doesn't really matter what card you play, right? There's not much to it. Similarly, it doesn't matter what happens if partner has the jack. If we lay down the king and declarer wins, we have the queen and the jack. Or if we start out leading small, either partner's going to win the jack or declarer is going to grab the ace, and we're going to get the next 2. So when we have king, queen empty, if partner can help us, it doesn't matter what we do. It's when, now if partner has absolutely nothing, let's say the 2, 3, 4, and declare has ace, jack, 10, 9, then we're pretty much dead. The double finesse is on, and declare is going to get 2 tricks, and we're going to get 1, right? We lead the king to the ace, and declare has jack, 10, 9. I'm not talking about the actual situation where partner has the 10. I'm talking about if declare also had the 10. If we led small, any card that declare put in would win, and declare would still have the ace. Now, what most people will do in this situation, certainly below the expert level, is to lay down the king because they want to make sure that they set up that queen, right? And as we saw, though, in the other situations, if partner can help, it doesn't really matter what we do. The card that's actually critical, when I say critical, I mean the card that makes a difference is when partner has the 10. So if we laid down the king here, declare would win the ace probably, and then later, after going to dummy, let's say in clubs, lead up to the jack. And that would work. Either we'd play small and the jack would win, or we would duck, or we would grab the queen and the jack would set up for the 3rd round. So leading the king here isn't going to get us a second trick. But if we lead small, declare has choices. And as we've seen many times, when declare has choices, sometimes declare will go wrong, right? Now, if declare wins the ace, the king and queen are set up immediately. Winning the ace would not be a great play here for declare, right? Declare's main choices are going to be to play the jack or to play the 5 and let the lead ride around to the 9. And declare would do that hoping that we had the 10. So picture the 10 of spades swapped with either honor in the east hand. In other words, West has king or queen empty, and East has the king or the queen along with the 10. Playing small would be the winning play, right? Because West would have to win the king or the queen, and then the ace jack would finesse East out of the other honor. It's sort of like the declarer's version of something we've talked about a number of times, which is the principle of minimal help. If declare puts in the jack, for that to be a useful play, declare needs to have East to have both the king and the queen. But playing small helps if East only has the 10, because then to beat dummy's 9, West is going to have to put in the king or the queen. Does it make sense to everybody from declarer's point of view why the 5 would be a better play than the jack? And just think of it in those terms. If you play the 5, you're hoping East has the 10. If you play the jack, you're hoping East has both the king and the queen, which is less likely. So if it's correct for declarer to play the 5 in this situation, and unless there's a really good reason not to, like the auction, it is correct for declarer to play the 5, then it has to be right for East to play small. In a normal game with, let's say, advanced players who don't have any special reason to do anything differently, if East leads the 2, the spade suit's going to go like this. Declare is going to play small. Partner's going to win the 10. And there's your second spade trick. But if if East had played the king, yeah, you get that spade trick set up right away, but it's the only one you got because now declare gets the ace and the jack. So the point of this little exercise is to recognize from the East chair, even though it's very, very intuitive to lead the king, the correct play is actually to underlead the king-queen combination. Because when partner can help you, it doesn't matter. When partner has the 10, it gives declarer a very good chance to go wrong, and declarer should go wrong. Okay, so far so good. King, queen, 9. Well, now part of this also depends on how many tricks you need from the suit, right? So if we're playing imps, you might be able to work out in this suit before it gets played exactly how many tricks you need, right? So if you need one trick, you lead the king because that's going to immediately set up the queen. If you need more than one trick, king, queen, 9. So if there's nothing in dummy, we're missing the ace, jack, 10. If partner has the jack, it doesn't matter what you lead, right? If partner has the 10, now the problem from declarer's point of view is that declarer doesn't have the option of riding it around to the 9. So you're probably in trouble if there's nothing in dummy. I shouldn't say you're probably in trouble because partner might have the jack, but it probably matters less what you do. It's the 9 in dummy that gives declarer a losing option. Whereas if declarer has ace, jack, and nothing else, or ace, jack, 8, then I don't think it's gonna matter too much. So if we're declare king, queen, if we have ace, jack, 8, if we put in the 9, yeah. So if we lead small and declare has ace, jack, 8, if he puts in the 8, he's playing us to have the 10 and the jack, or the 10 and the 9. If we put in the jack, then he needs us to have the king and the queen. So from the principle of minimal help perspective, either play would require us to have 2 cards. So it might be better to go by the auction and see what declarer might think we're more likely to have, right? So if the auction marks partner with a really good hand, but we happen to have the king and the queen, but declarer thinks that our partner has a better hand than we do, then maybe it's still best to play small because declarer will think that we have the or that partner has the king, queen, and maybe, you know, maybe declarer plays small anyway. I'd have to think about that though. Off the top of my head, I think it's going to matter a lot less than this situation though. This situation where we have king, queen, nothing is where there's a good chance. And notice in this position, if declare had the 10, it wouldn't matter. We just get one trick, right? But we play low because partner might have the 10. Okay. So now that we've seen that, this will be easy. Oh, sorry. Okay, so here we actually get to have an auction. So here's something that happens a lot. What's going on from East's perspective here? Well, partner's got 4 spades. I'm assuming that most Souths will rebid a spade with a 4-card suit, which is certainly normal in the U.S. Most places. Back in the day, it didn't. Somebody mentioned Walsh style, where South rebid a 1-no trump could hide a 4-card spade suit, but for the most part, in 2022, at least where I live and where I've played, South would bid a spade with a 4-card spade suit. So West has at least 4 spades, and since West led smallest, West should have exactly 4 spades, which means Declare has 3 spades. So if Declare's spades are Queen Jack 10, Declare has a spade stopper. Yes? Yes. If partner has the Queen of Spades, we're entitled to 4 spade tricks, because Declare's 3 spades can't stop our ace, king, queen, and we're going to set up the 4th spade. We're just going to take the first 4 spade tricks and hope the partner has a 5th trick for us, right? So our play doesn't matter if Declare's spades are as good as Queen Jack 3rd, because we're certainly going to play either the ace or the king at this trick, and then that's going to set up a trick for Declare. If Declare's spades are as good as Queen Jack 3rd, Declare gets a trick. If Declare doesn't have the Queen of Spades, Declare gets no tricks. So the situation where our play might make a difference is when Declare has the queen, but not the jack. Does that make sense? Partner's got the queen, we just take the first 4 spade tricks. Declare has the queen jack, Declare has a stopper. So we kind of talked, I think last time or the time before, about the sort of triage situation, right? There's some suits or some contracts where you're always going to set it. There's some contracts or some suits where you can't do anything. But then there are the ones where your play makes a difference. So here's what happens frequently. 3rd hand, lower a touching honors, and Declare does something like this. Declare knocks out the ace of diamonds. Partner cashes our spade trick. And Declare claims. 1 trick in the bank, ace, king, queen of hearts, ace, king, queen of clubs, and all the diamonds are good, right? 9 out of the last 8 tricks. But if we had returned a small spade, now Declare has to guess, right? When we lay down the ace, Declare plays small and the queen sets up, and boom, Declare has a stopper. But now Declare has to guess whether West led from the ace or led from the jack. If you switch the ace and the jack, then the 10 is the right play, because it forces the ace and then the queen's good. But on the actual deal, declare wins the trick if he puts in the queen. So declare has to guess. When declare has to guess, sometimes declare will get it wrong. So does everybody see why it's best not to cash the second spade at this point? Okay. Now, for all the money in a trip to South Dakota, does anybody see what East could have done that would have been even better? Yeah, if you really want, so in this variation, we've given declare basically a 50-50 guess. If we want to really help declare get it wrong, yeah, second place is 2 trips to South Dakota. Thank you. I'll be here all week. If we really want to help declare get it wrong, we're going to win the ace. Then when we play small, especially those of you who look nice and innocent and friendly, declare is going to say, well, gee, with the ace and the king, East would have won the king, because everybody knows you win with the lowest of touching honors. Therefore, East doesn't have the king, West does. Therefore, there's no reason to put up the queen. I'm going to try the 10. And now declare doesn't like you anymore. So this is a situation where the false card would be very useful, right? The false card of the ace hiding the king makes it even more likely that declare is gonna mess up. Now, what if we say, well, yeah, except now partner's gonna think that declare has the king? Does that create a problem that we fooled partner? Not really, because partner has the ace of diamonds. And if we count out declare's hand on the auction, we can assume that that partner West still has another big card, right? What's West going to do if West thinks declare has the king? Well, the partner's still going to set up the spade trick while holding the ace of diamonds as an entry. And partner will just be pleasantly surprised that we're able to win the king. But West isn't going to do anything differently. West is going to set up that spade while there's still an entry in the West hand, and then just hope that we can somehow provide the the 5th trick, maybe with the jack of clubs or something. Yeah, so the expert play is the ace and then small. The intermediate plus advanced play is the king and then small. And the losing play is to cash 2 spades, because that just makes it too easy for declare. But notice that's based on the fact that we know declare has 3 spades, because partner led 4th best. Yeah, question. No, you don't have to go to South Dakota. The other question. Yeah, leading a spade. Oh, why does West lead a spade? Yeah, so can't lead diamonds or so are you saying why is West's opening lead a spade? Um, yeah, West doesn't have the ace here. Well, okay, so first of all, um, our initial thoughts should be to the unbid suits, right? To clubs and spades. And actually, I think you can make a pretty good case for leading the 8 of clubs here for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that there's a good chance that East's hand is better than West's, and therefore, instead of leading West's own better suit of the black suits, right, spades, um, it might be better to try to find East's longer suit. But there's a good chance that South has either long clubs or good clubs, because South didn't bid spades and also didn't support hearts. So South should have a lot of cards in the minors, and that kind of pushes us away from a club lead. The other one, and this is kind of interesting, East failed to overcall. With a good spade suit, East might have overcalled at the 1 level, but with a relatively weak hand, East probably isn't going to come in with 2 clubs regardless. So there's a good chance that East has long clubs, but not enough strength to bid at the 2 level. Not the case here. But basically, it's the longer of the unbid suits, and also West has at least 1 entry with the ace of diamonds. Now, as far as your question about being told that leading from an unsupported ace is not a good lead, definitely true against a suit contract. Against a no trump contract, that generally becomes less important because the long cards can get set up, right? Against a suit contract, there's an expiration date on your suit, because once declarer is out or once dummy is out, that 4th spade or the 5th spade or whatever it is gets roughed. So if you reverse diamonds and spades, I would, you might still lead a spade, whether it's from the ace. Leading from like Jack 4th used to be thought of as a really, really horrible lead. It's not great, but it might be a least of evils lead. Now, again, there's a difference whether we're talking about against no trump or against a suit. Against a suit, I would much rather lead from a jack than an ace. No trump, it's not going to be my first choice, but I'm not necessarily going to shy away from it. The potential problems with it, I think we saw a couple of weeks ago, if you were here, the situation where you end up on lead with an unsupported queen or jack. You're kind of in an end play situation, and if you lead small to partner's queen or jack, let's say you have the jack, you lead small, partner wins the queen, and then declare later finesses you out of the jack. So when you have jack empty opposite queen empty in your partner's hand, leading small can blow a trick. And so that's one reason leading from a jack might not be good. And then the second reason is that you need a lot more help from partner for it to be productive. So if I lead from the queen, if partner has the king, we've set up a trick. But if I lead from the jack and partner has the king, we still might not get a trick. If the king loses to the ace and declare has the queen, my jack hasn't set up yet. So leading from a jack is not a particularly good lead, but the auction might suggest that it's the right suit to lead. Yeah, and if you have, even adding a 9 to a jack is going to help, because if partner has the 10, at least between the 2 hands, you have a sequence. Or if partner has the queen, and then you have the jack 9 behind declares 10 or something like that. So it's definitely not a lead that should be your first choice, but it's not horrible if the auction suggests that this is the suit that should be led, or if the other suits look unattractive. Did I claim this one? Okay. Okay, got all hands visible, which is what we want. So this is one that I loaded and forgot to save last week when we were talking about false cards. So you might remember last week we were talking a lot about playing the card that you're known to hold, and some specific false carding situations where you have 10-9 small and you play either the 10 or the 9 on the first round, and then the other one is the one where you have like queen 10 or something like that and you play the high one first. This is another one that's really, really common. And again, don't worry about the auction or the whole deal. We're looking specifically at the black suits. And so I want to focus first on the club suit. So if you're declarer and you have this combination, probably the first thing you're going to do is see if the jack wins, see if West has the queen. When West does have the queen, we're still missing the 10, 8, 7, etc. We're missing a lot of stuff. And since we're missing the queen and the 10, there's not much we can do here except lay down the ace. But when the queen drops, now the only high card we're missing is the 10, and that reestablishes a finessing position, and we pick up the whole club suit, right? So, okay. Let's look at that club suit again. Low to the jack wins, the ace drops the queen, and then we have the king 9 behind the 10-8. We finesse east out of the 10. So here's what happens at most tables at the local club in spades. Low to the jack, ace, we know that West has the queen because the jack won the first spade trick. So when East follows suit, we put up the king and it drops the queen. And we pick up the whole spade suit, right? Okay, so just looking at spades, low to the jack wins. The ace collects small cards. Low the third time, declarer knows that West has the queen because the jack held the first trick. And so the king of spades drops the queen. But West had a chance to be spectacular here. So this is another not too uncommon example of playing the card you're known to hold. If West keeps that queen of spades, it's just going to get dropped on the next round anyway. If West plays the queen of spades, declarer may very well think that the spade situation is just like the club situation in the last hand. So ignore the heart play. I'm just trying to get back to the south hand. Remember, in clubs, we led the jack, and then the ace dropped the queen. If the queen was really a doubleton like it is in clubs, declarer has to play low to the 9 and finesse east out of the 10, right? We can see that that's what declarer has to do in clubs. But if declarer tries to make what would be the winning play in clubs, in spades, West is going to get that 10 of spades. And if Declare plays the spades this way, he certainly hasn't done anything wrong. That's what Declare needs to do in the other suit, right? It would, the winning play is obviously to drop the queen, but if the suit were distributed the other way, going up with the king would be wrong. It would set up the 10. So the first play in both black suits is going to be the same. It's going to be low to the jack. Second play is going to be to lay down the ace. If that drops the queen, it's going to give Declare a choice to hope that the suit is divided 3-3 or to finesse East out of the 4 to the 10, the club situation, right? But if we're West and we have the spade suit, keeping the queen in our hand doesn't give Declare that losing option. So when you're West in this situation, you got to play the queen the second time the suit is played. It's the only way that Declare has a choice of plays and might get it wrong. Yeah. So if you're West, oops. If you're West, after the finesse wins, you know that Declare knows that you have the queen. And so when Declare plays the ace, you have to play it. If you play the 10, Declare is going to drop your queen on the next round. So you have to play the queen here and give Declare a chance to think that East has the 10. Okay. This is not, I'm kind of, it's sort of a false card. You don't have to play the queen, but it's just kind of deception in general. It's being a little bit sneaky, giving Declare more of a chance to do the wrong thing. Yeah, so a lot of the false card situations, not all of them, but a lot of them do come under the heading of play the card you're known to have. It's not really a false card per se, but it's an unnecessarily high card. But it's a matter of recognizing a situation where keeping that high card isn't going to help you. So here, we just have East on view, right? Yeah. Yeah, the queen and 10 are equals once the jack is gone. Yep. So 3 no trump here by South. The point range on that is 13 to 15. Partner leads the ace of diamonds. This dummy comes down. And here's my question. We're sitting east, and hopefully Declare's taken a little bit of time to plan the play. If not, you can take all the time you need at trick one. Sitting east, think ahead in this hand, because obviously we're not going to be much help at trick one necessarily, at least. Maybe a brilliant signal here will make all the difference with 5, 6, 7, but probably not. What might we do here that could matter? Whether it's a question of how we're going to signal, what we're going to switch to after we win the ace of clubs one day, something else. At some point in the hand, something East can do is going to make a difference. Can anybody see what that might be? Okay, we got a vote for ducking the ace of clubs. Has to do with the jack of hearts, the only card East has really, other than the ace of clubs. Got the jack behind the king 10. There's just enough room for partner to have the queen of hearts. Another vote for duck. Yeah, let's look at how this hand goes at 9 tables out of 10 in a typical club game. Now, South may cash a couple of winners in the majors to see what happens. And probably will cash at least 2 hearts, maybe 2 spades. Well, maybe not 2, but eventually South leads up to the king, because it would be embarrassing to lead up to the 10 and lose to the jack and the ace and be down right away, right? East wins. East maybe returns a heart, hoping that partner has the queen or something like that. And Declare may hope something good will happen and some sort of squeeze position may come off. But assuming there's not some major counting reason to the contrary, there just aren't that many suits where Declare has a chance to find a 12th trick. And so Declare is going to get to this position and probably finesse West out of the 10 of clubs, making 6. Oops. That'll teach me to not do the auction. But if that king of clubs wins the trick, then when Declare gets back to this position, Declare has a guess to make. Play West for the Jack of clubs. In other words, put up the 10. If it forces the ace like it would, the 10 would be the winning play, right? 12 tricks. So Declare has a guess. And unless it's like an all expert game, Declare is going to probably assume that, well, East might have taken the ace of clubs if he had it. So that makes it slightly more likely that West has the ace of clubs. East would never play the Jack under the king, but East might have taken the ace. So since I led up to the king and that one, now I'm going to lead up to the queen. And Declare goes down one. Oh, I feel bad picking on South Dakota. Now what happens after this? After this, everybody gathers around and says, well, what'd you do on board 17? Oh, 6 no trump making 6. Oh, me too. Oh, me too. And then you look and then you see that somebody went down in 6 no trump. And then you think, well, gee, that must be nice to get to defend this hand against the idiot who doesn't even know how to take a finesse. And what you don't realize is that when the hand made at table after table, most of the time it was because East wasn't giving Declare any choice but to finesse. Especially with that 10 in dummy, that's your little red flag that maybe Declare has a guess. Now, what if partner doesn't have the Jack? Well, then you take the ace of clubs next time. Now notice on that auction, it started 1 club past 2 no trump. South doesn't have a 4-card major, so there's a limited number of tricks available, right? 1 club trick isn't going to be the 12th trick. Declare only has 6 tricks in the majors. Declare and dummy had a maximum of 3 cards.
I'm not doing it.
Declare and dummy had a maximum of 3 cards in the majors, so that's only 6 tricks. It's not. You're not giving away the farm there. And the moral of the story is, as I mentioned before, even though you don't see those tricks get away, I can almost guarantee that everybody here, myself included, has lost more tricks by grabbing an ace than by ducking it. We get really possessive and paranoid about losing our aces. So we very, very, very often rush to take them, and it's hidden, right? When Declare makes a contract or an over trick and you had an ace in your hand that you didn't take a trick with, you remember that for weeks, right? But when you grab that ace when you didn't have to, and you lose a trick because of it, a lot of times the trick that you lost in that situation is hidden. It comes at the end of the hand when Declare's Jack is good because you took the ace too soon. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, let's go back to hiding some hands here. Four clubs is straight Gerber. 4 no trump is 3 aces. Oops. Okay, what's going on here? And what are we going to discard once we maybe run out of spades, or maybe before we run out of spades? Okay, vote for the 9 of diamonds, a pretty high card to show that we have solid diamonds. And that was actually on the right page here. But when you have a sequence of honors here, the conventional discard here, and it's a useful one, is the Queen of Diamonds. And that shows that the suit is solid below that. So it does a couple of things. It denies the king, but it also shows that we have the lower ones. And we can see how that's going to be helpful here, because what's going to happen at some point, if we look at Declare has a good spade, 3 good hearts, still has this club and 2 more clubs. So if we count Declare's tricks, let's say that Declare drops a diamond here. So at this point, Declare obviously still has a couple clubs to run, right? But Declare has, with 8 tricks left, Declare has a spade, 3 hearts is 4, ace of diamonds 5, 2 clubs is 7, right? Once we get that spade out of our hand, Declare knows that, I'm sorry, partner knows Declare's out of spades. So the 9 of spades is a safe discard. But on that last club, if we'd been discarding haphazardly here, in other words, if we still had that Queen of Diamonds in our hand, West might think that Declare has the ace Queen of Diamonds and 3 hearts. West might be afraid to unguard the King of Diamonds. And if West throws a heart, that's going to blow the contract, right? Declare takes the ace of diamonds, ace, king, queen of hearts, and nobody has a heart left except Declare, and the 5 of hearts is the 13th trick. Once we discard that Queen of Diamonds, partner knows that it's safe to unguard the king. And now there's nothing Declare can do. Declare has no options in the diamond suit. But if Declare plays hearts from the top, partner's 9 of hearts sets up. Yeah, we could even discard the King of Diamonds, but we can certainly unguard it, knowing that the partner has the Jack and should have the 10, and etc. So it's a good, useful, conventional discard, and it helps partner out a lot, right? Especially in these hands where Declare is in like a slam, let alone a grand slam. What makes the defense hard is the partners letting each other know who's going to guard what, or who has the potential to guard what. Yes, a question. Yes. Yeah. If East had useful diamonds, but not a sequence, like let's say the Queen 9, 5, 2 or something like that, then you would discard a high spot card. you can't discard the queen without having cards underneath the queen, the jack and the 10, and probably should have the 9. Now in this case, the jack would be enough, because if West unblocked the king and the ace dropped it, the jack would set up. But that would be a little dangerous, right? It should be a sequence of cards below the queen. Otherwise, East would probably either discard the smallest possible heart, or if that looked ambiguous, a high diamond. Usually in no trump, we're discarding from suits that we don't like, because we want to save the cards in the suit we like as possible winners. But in a grand slam, you're just looking for one trick anyway. You're very welcome. Wow, it only took like 3 months, but we got some questions today. Very happy. We'll look a little bit more at discarding next week, among other things we do, because a lot of times I think people find that to be one of the most difficult things, right? It's easy to cash or to set up your tricks and to take them. It's when, you know, declares playing a bunch of winners in a row and you think you're squeezed, but you're not. Knowing what to save and knowing how to let partner know what you can do and what you can't do tends to be really important. I think a lot of contracts that could have been set end up making because of discarding errors. So thanks to everybody. Great, got some great questions and comments today. I think it was a really good session.
Thank you very much, Dan. So we got you next week again?
Yes.
I know you're taking off sometime in the future.
Yeah, I'll probably miss a couple of weeks after next week. I'm leaving April 30th for a week. So I will not be in town on May 6th, and probably won't be able to do a lesson on the 29th. I'll be doing last minute stuff before the trip. So,
okay, well, I'll mark for gone.
Then in Scotland. So yeah, we'll talk about dates next week, but I will be here next week, and probably that'll be the last week for a while.
Excellent, excellent. Oh, you're going to South Dakota, Mary.
I am not going to South Dakota. I've never been to South Dakota, and I'm not going.
We apologize to everybody who lives in South Dakota.
No. Yes, where the state motto is, at least we're not North Dakota. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Stop it. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, here comes the hate mail. So if anybody would like Dan's
Mount Rushmore
leading quiz, or give him an email.
Oh, nice. North Dakota playing hockey. I've probably been to about 30 states, not including either of the Dakotas. So I'll probably get there at some point. Check out Mount Rushmore and all that.
I've been to North Dakota, but I was 8 years old, so I don't remember very much. And we were
I was in Montana, but no.
Coming back from Scotland at that time.
You're coming back from Scotland?
We were, yeah. I was visiting my grandparents in Scotland when I was 8 years old over the summer. And I remember Dad picking us up in Toronto, and it was stifling hot. And we drove home through North Dakota, and so there you go. So now you get
North Dakota.
Scotland.
I've been to North and South Carolina.
South Carolina? You're going to South Carolina?
I have been. I stayed in North Carolina for about a week, and I was in Charlotte, which is really, really close to South Carolina. So I drove like, I don't know, 5 or 6 miles into South Carolina so I could cross it off my list.
Very
I didn't
good.
spend any time there. North Carolina. Um, so for those of us in the United States, um, football is far and away the biggest national sport in the U.S. And I was in North Carolina for opening day of the football season, and I was really, I'd been jonesing for some football because, like a lot of people, I'm a football fan, off season, etc. I'm in the Charlotte Brewing Company, and there are like 100 TV screens up where they're showing all these different games. So I'm sitting somewhere where I can watch the Raiders game, and I'm just eating lunch, and all of a sudden, the other side of the room, the crowd just erupts. And I thought, oh, wow, somebody must have made a great play. I must have missed an incredible football highlight in one of the other games. I haven't seen any football in a long time. I bet they're going to show it on the instant replay. This will be cool. I want to see this. This is going to be too much of a buildup for people who don't live in the United States, but I apologize. So I walk, American football. So I walk over to the other side of the restaurant, looking forward to seeing this play. And Jeff Gordon, NASCAR driver, had passed somebody on like lap 110 of a 200 lap race to move from 5th place into 4th place. And the people were just going nuts. I mean, the moral of the story is they love their NASCAR in North Carolina. I mean, it wasn't even the end of the race. He wasn't even in first place. It was just, I was like, wow, these people were nuts. No offense to NASCAR fans, but
Yeah,
they are some passionate fans for their stock car racing in North Carolina.
Oh, James says to take your clubs next time you go to the Carolinas.
I played Frisbee golf in North Carolina.
Frisbee golf, I never heard of that.
Oh yeah, Frisbee golf. I lived near a really, really nice course in Southern California. There are actually several. North Carolina, the Frisbee golf course, it was like a forest. I mean, there were trees everywhere. It took forever to play around.
Mm-hmm.
I live by the course in La Mirada. If you're familiar with that one, really, really nice Frisbee golf course. You grew up in La Mirada? Oh, nice. Okay. So Joe, you probably know, so you know the La Mirada course? That's a nice course around the lake. Yeah. I played, mostly I played there or in Long Beach, Lakewood off the 605, and also in Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach is interesting because those hills are, you get a bad roll there or catch a gust of wind, it gets pretty ugly. But North Carolina, I'm telling you, I couldn't throw like 30 yards without hitting a tree.
Great.
Well, there you go. Former disco.
What years were you there?
Well, I'm in Tustin, so I'm not super far, but I grew up in Hacienda Heights, so about,
all right.
My friend who introduced me to disc golf lived in Huntington Beach, and so La Mirada was almost a halfway point, and it's such a gorgeous course.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. So there you go.
2 18-hole courses in La Mirada Park now, and they convert to one gigantic professional course that the big tournaments play on. So it's really fun.
Oh, nice. Well, then, so they got 27 holes there, right? Because they got the 18-hole course around the lake, and then they got that back 9.
No, it's a whole 18 back there.
Oh, they really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because didn't they used to have a separate?
Yeah. But now
Okay.
there's a whole championship course that, basically plays from hole 1 to hole 3, hole 4 to hole 6, hole 7 to hole 10. Like it's an amazing course. It's really
I have
fun.
to get back out there. I still am only like a half hour away. Where do you live now?
I'm next door to La Mirada. I'm in Fullerton now.
Oh, hey man, if you ever want to, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to play disc golf with you.
Oh, I I play with early players all the time. So we should definitely play. That'd be great.
Shoot me an email if you caught my email address, Babs. I was actually born in Fullerton,
Oh,
at St. Jude's on Harbor, but I'm not that far. I'm not that far now. Did you so were you on like a tour? Did you play all these other courses? Have you ever played in Charlotte, North Carolina?
I've not played in Charlotte, Texas,
Oh.
Arizona, Northern California, all over the place. I went to school up there, so I was playing up there as well. And I do have
cool.
two. I have 2 open wins to my name, so not too
Oh,
bad.
nice.
One in Northern California and one at Long Beach.
Oh yeah, the Long Beach, the course off the 605 or somewhere
Mhm.
else.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a nice course too. But La Mirada, as playing La Mirada for the first time and the first several times I played disc golf really kind of spoiled me because
I hear you.
it's
Yeah.
I lived in an apartment. I was playing mostly in my 20s, and I lived in an apartment in Anaheim with the guy who actually my favorite bridge partner of all time also, but the guy who got me into disc golf. And so for those of you who are for some unknown reason haven't disconnected yet, this course that Joe and I are talking about in La Mirada wrapped around this lake, and there were countless ducks and geese in this lake. So we were all in our 20s and kind of crazy in the way that guys in their 20s are. My roommate and a friend got this brilliant idea, and they were correct, that there must be just a ton of discs, frisbees, in the lake, because just like regular golf, errant shots go into lakes when there are lakes around. So they got the bright idea to go to La Mirada Park one night when nobody was around, the middle of the night, and just wade out into the lake and collect discs. And they're throwing on, I think one of them had a wetsuit, the other one just had high boots and gloves, and they must have pulled like 50 frisbees out of that lake. And I don't think I'm like 54 years old. I don't think I've ever been around anything that has smelled as bad as the frisbees that they pulled. I mean, just with mud and duck crap and whatever, God knows what is in at the bottom of this lake, but they pulled out the nastiest, stinkiest bunch of frisbees, but some really nice ones. There used to be I'm sure you're familiar with Discovering the World, the frisbee store that used to be on Beach Boulevard. We
I used to work for
go
Dan. Yeah.
What's that?
I used to work for Discovering the World. Yeah.
Did you? Oh yeah, there you go. So we'd spend a lot of money. So we'll just get out of it. There's probably, and some great drivers, Cyclones and Scorpions and all the, for the people that just think we're nuts, in the same way that different golf clubs do different things, the frisbees are designed to do different things. So some of them are for distance, they're putters, they're discs that naturally break left to right, they're discs that naturally break right to left, depending on where the opening that you have to shoot through is. And so just like a regular golfer, you carry a variety of different discs that do different things. And so they thought, hey, and then they brought these nasty frisbees into our apartment and actually ran them through the dishwasher.
Oh, did that help? I don't know.
It helped a little bit. I mean, they didn't smell us, but I still can't believe that they walked around. I mean, I can't even imagine what's at the bottom of that lake.
Oh yeah, I will admit that I spent some part of my childhood hanging around hole 13 and saying, "Hey, mister, like, I'll go get your frisbee out of the lake for $1 after they went in there."
Oh man, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's been a while since I played. I think there's a course or maybe a half a course around this pretty close to where I live now, but I haven't played God in decades. Dollar a frisbee. Hey, back in the day.
Absolutely.
That is funny. Do you
Late 80s,
do you
early
do
90s.
you play oh that's I was there in the early 90s, yeah. Yeah, because this was like I say, my bridge partner, and we lived together in the 90s in Anaheim and then later in Long Beach. Do you play bridge in the local clubs, or have you?
I'm a working stiff, so club bridge is hard to get to. So,
Yeah.
we used to have a Fullerton one going, and I think I'm not sure if it's still going, but I've definitely played, down at Laguna and certainly the Costa Mesa. I've been there.
Where in Fullerton?
So it's moved around. The last place that it was is a little clubhouse off of Lemon and Orangethorpe, basically that's by a Costco. There's a little like a community clubhouse there. But
Okay.
and this is Ventry, but I don't know if it's
Yeah.
going right now.
So okay. So how long have you been coming to these Friday morning deals?
Your things?
Yeah.
I miss a lot. I have in fact, I have a department meeting in like 15 minutes, so I don't always
Okay.
make it. So here
You ever-
I've been popping in.
Do you ever hear me talk about my, everybody would pass here except for one of my partners who always bids. Whenever you hear me talk about a partner of
Yeah.
mine who bids, that I'm talking about Ventry. I play with him every
Is it
other
him?
Wednesday. Yeah.
That's funny.
Did you play in the club when it was on La Palma near Kino's restaurant, like off of Magnolia and La Palma?
No, I don't think
I don't know
so.
I don't know how long you've been playing. It moved
I
there
think-
from a while.
The only other time I could think, I think it was at the Anaheim Civic Center, unless that's a different club, once or twice.
Across the street from the senior center?
Yes, yeah.
Or, well, it was across the street and then it was actually in the senior center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I remember.
That's a
Yeah.
club that's moved many times, but I actually owned that club in like year around 98, 2000.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Well, I'll send you a
it's
note. We're
50.
catching up. I'm taking some new people out in 2 Thursdays, actually. That's a
Oh.
thing that I do.
That's cool. Well, I'll be traveling for a little while, but I'll get back out there. I thought about heading out and playing around. My buddy I used to play with moved to Washington, but all
I'll
right. Well,
bring you
nice
some
talking
discs.
with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And everybody else, we'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
I'll see you next week.